So let's get a few things straight. 3.5 million people have lost their lives to this deadly and highly contagious virus. Now there's a vaccine that can keep you and your family safe. But millions of people refuse to take it, whether it's distrust for the medical community or rampant misinformation playing a role in their thought process. A lot of families are divided over getting the shot. Joining us now to share advice on how to mend that divide, Dr. Elspeth Cameron-Ritchie, the chair of psychiatry at MedStar Washington Hospital Center. Dr. Ritchie, thanks so much for coming on with us to talk about this. Very timely. Let's talk about this situation here where maybe one family member is vaccinated and the other isn't. You don't lead a conversation by saying, hey, what the heck's wrong with you? Go and get the shot. How do you constructively frame a conversation to try to get that person into your corner and getting the shot?
So first of all, think of the background. We've had 1.5 years of incredible mixed messages of people saying first wear masks or don't wear masks, and a lot of misinformation about different medications. So it's not at all surprising that people are not sure what's true and what isn't true. But what you don't want to do is say, hey, you're stupid. You need to go get the shot. Otherwise, you don't get to come to the party Saturday night. Instead, like any difficult conversation, you want to engage in a loving way. And what I find is helpful is say, well, let's talk about this. What are the pros of getting the shot and what are the cons? The pros to me seem obvious. They're about being safe, being able to go out and socialize. And then, at least for me, when I got my second shot, boy, did I feel less anxious. But there's the cons too, and you want to listen to both sides of the discussion. Maybe somebody's worried about the side effects. Maybe they've heard this bizarre theory that you're going to get a microchip in you. And even though I think that's pretty bizarre, it may make sense to them. Or maybe they're worried about long-term side effects. And of course, there's always the history of the racial problems that we've had with medical research. But the point would be to engage in a dialogue and try to understand where they're coming from, right, and listen to their point of view.
Yeah, and I think that leads into this next question. A lot of the information that people are getting sometimes comes in a silo. A lot of this misinformation. I mean, you mentioned it. Microchips, these lies about microchips in the vaccine, how fast they were developed. I mean, some people have concerns. What do you say to people to ease those fears, especially if a lot of those fears are just purely based on misinformation that they're not recognizing?
So there's kind of both rational fear, like it was developed quickly, but it's been out there, it's been safe, and then there's kind of the irrational fears. And if you could just talk about them and try to talk them through. Sometimes people don't want to admit because they know, if I say this, my wife's going to think I'm crazy. But if you can listen to them in a calm, non-judgmental manner, then maybe you can move the needle from, no, I won't do it, leave me alone, to, well, let's talk about some of the pros. One of the things you might say, for example, say it's your husband refusing to get the shot. Your mom is not doing too well. She's in a nursing home. She really would like to see you again. It would be very important for her to be able to do that. What more do you need to learn? How can we help you? Who do you want to talk to? Maybe he's got a trusted friend. I think the government overall is doing a good job now in reaching out to the community, to the clergy, to the leaders out there. Who does your family member trust? Maybe you have a dynamic with them that they don't like getting into arguments with you, but maybe Uncle Bob, who got the shot a month ago and is doing just fine, might be able to have at least part of that conversation. And remember, it's a gradual process with many people. Yeah. It's not a yes, no. It may be well, maybe not now, but maybe later.
And that's the key. That's the key. When we talk about moving the needle, you just said that, pun intended, I'm going to assume. You can't necessarily assume that one conversation is going to lead to a snap, yep, you know what, I'm going to do it. It might take a few times having that chat.
Yes, and for somebody really to see that you care about them, you care about their mother, you're trying to make it all work in a very stressful and anxious time when we are all feeling like we don't know what the right answer is. Yeah. But let's use this to maybe move our relationship, and maybe your husband will get a colonoscopy at the same time, which you've also been trying to get him to do for the last 10 years.
Right. This is all about keeping everybody healthy, keeping everybody safe. Dr. Elspeth Cameron-Ritchie, Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate you coming on with us.
Great to be with you. Have a safe night, everybody.